Hello, hello, and welcome to Broomstick Capital. So, I am coming today to make an announcement. So, as some of you know, I am very focused on an intuitive approach of life, and to me, it applies not only to your personal life, but also to business. And this is what I believe where our society is heading, whether you know it or not, or whether they know it or not, whether people are knowing it or not. There is an awakening in our society, and not to use two big words and intangible concepts. Concepts are intangible by nature anyway, so... Well, what I mean to say is that people want to... Hi Sherilyn, welcome to Broomstick Capital. So this is where a lot of people, whether it's in their personal life but also in business, are heading. So this morning I was having breakfast, right? And then I opened the FT, the Financial Times, which I haven't opened for a long while, and I read this article, which is about a billionaire. So Louis Bacon, he has a hedge fund called Moore Capital, and then the title was "Makes Big Gains After Going It Alone." And then it goes about how he made a huge profit, and it's been a while that he was waiting for this, and then people kind of were looking for safe investments through these coronavirus market turmoil situation. And then people were investing in gold instead, just because they wanted like safe assets, and talk about the volatility of the markets that were kind of... This is what hedge funds thrive on. Hedge funds make profit through the volatility of financial markets. But then when the financial crisis happened in 2008, 2009, you had a lot of government intervention, and it kind of killed the volatility. Because they injected a lot of liquidity and bought a lot of assets, and the hedge funds kind of struggled. So, all of this to say that when I looked at this with my intuitive eye, I tuned into the guy, right? And that was quite interesting. So what I found was that Mr. Bacon... So Louis Bacon, this is this billionaire investor, and I asked to give me a picture of where is that, what's happening, because basically this article announced his retirement and says at the end that he wants to focus on philanthropy, family, all of that stuff that obviously I talk about in my Abundance Manifestor page and brand, which is what everybody ultimately, whether you're a billionaire or not, thrive towards. Okay? So, because this is where we are heading towards self-fulfillment. Some people make money first and then want to feel good. And some others are doing it from a holistic approach and are more into, I want it all at the same time. So maybe that's why it might take a little while to put your stuff together, put it in order, and it's a choice that you make. So that's one observation. So the second observation is I'm just reading something. Okay, so the second observation that I made was around himself, his inner state. So when I tuned into his energy, I felt he was exhausted, and there was a reason why he decided to close this hedge fund, because there was some sort of technical something that he felt he couldn't overcome, something where, you know, when you've made quite a bit of money, let's say you are gambling. Okay, obviously this is not gambling, kind of. It's, let's say you have made quite a big amount of money, and then you're like, okay, now it's time to exit. Or you have built a business, it's super successful, and some people are come to that awareness that, okay, I think now it's time for me to quit. Not to quit, but to exit. That's a better word. To exit, because I feel this is the time. So this is for him something that was not only about his needs to fulfill his philanthropic needs or contribution, or, you know, all of these needs that we know are important. But that was then something else which was more related to, he felt he couldn't pass through something, and it was wiser to take this, to basically reap the benefits, financial benefits, and exit. And then I thought, and then I came with a great idea, which has nothing to do with, really, Mr. Bacon, but more into my whole approach of life and business and my intuitive skills. So a few years ago, I don't know if you know that, maybe some of you know, I was working on a personal project, which obviously is the reason why I started this page. You know, Broomstick Capital is for investments that have a spiritual impact, and obviously I coined that concept, spiritual impact investments, as in, you know, a lot of people are into what they call social impact investments, but it's more related to charity concept. This is not about charity, this is about real profit, but with spiritual foundations, and I felt that was something that would really excite me to work on. And I then came up with that concept of, you know, people have a soul, right? Institutions have souls as well, to some level. And whether they are in existence or like tiny or quite big, there is a correlation between this and the well-being of the employees, and ultimately the performance in terms of not like squeezing everybody to get some sort of level of profit, but that wealth and abundance that we do talk about in the personal development industry, which is abundance in all areas. And that's why I coined what I called business spiritual quotient. So people talk about IQ, people talk about EQ these days with the emotional quotient, and even now people are talking. In fact, I went to a seminar, actually not seminar, a huge conference back in 2015, where the founder of Whole Food Markets, I always struggle to pronounce it because very few people get it. Whole Food, you know, that's organic supermarket that was bought by Amazon, by the way. Anyway, so these people started to talk about spiritual quotient, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is, people are starting to be awakened by this. I didn't have the structure in place I didn't have that platform that I have today. I didn't have that, also, I guess, not really, I guess, I didn't have that heightened intuitive skills that developed yet. So, you know, everything happens for a reason, and at the right thing at the right time. Anyway, time goes on, and then I thrive through these intuitive healing that are amazing and magical for all the clients I'm working with. I unlock so many things when I work with people within themselves, but also with as a result, has an impact on their health, but also their finances, their love life, and everything. So this is now a natural evolution for me now to then apply it to the business concept, aspect, not concept, where to basically now resume that that approach of business that I did start a few years ago, and now do it with, I would say, a stronger spiritual essence. So from that angle, I am now then I came up with that idea. And you know, sometimes you have a wonderful idea, like a lot of you I'm sure will recognize that. You have amazing idea all of a sudden, and then you get all excited, and then you sleep on it, and then a few days pass, and then you're like, oh, that was a shitty idea, actually, I'm not going to do it. Because you deflate. You flake and you deflate. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to come on live right now to actually do this. I tend not to deflate usually, but you know, I wanted to just be carried away with the excitement and the flow, because that's what inspiration is. You know, this is something that comes from above when you're connected. And I was told this morning when I did my journaling and my connection, I did some basic stuff, but then I was told, you will see what happens next. So that's what happened next. I am going to do now, so this is it, announcement. You've seen it on the title. So every Tuesday I'm going to go through a company and study their BSQ and give my take on it. Obviously, I have my own guidance when it comes to what's the next action step for some companies. Now, because, you know, I just did that somehow a little bit. I didn't ask for the next step for him, because that's not the question I wanted to ask. But, you know, Mr. Bacon, unless he consults me personally, I'm not going to be able to verify and validate what I'm seeing, because what I see is not something that is talked about in the media. This is something quite personal, private, but because of my intuitive skills, I can tap into, not by violating his intimacy really, but it's more from a business perspective, I would say. But the point is, whilst what I just talked about initially can't be verified, unless, as I said, you know, he has a personal consultation with me, I will do that with companies to start with. And then if you have a company and you want to be a case study, or you want to consult with me and not, you know, you want to keep your privacy, that's fine too. Either way. So again, the criteria for companies to be assessed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the so how does it work? So again, everything is intuitive led, and I'm just coming up with these intuitive hits as I speak. Isn't that cool? I mean, that's how I do in my courses, for those who have done my courses, and it's amazing every time. It's like, wow, beyond imagination. So the same thing is happening now for this, how I'm going to approach this. So in essence, I'm going to look into your the energy of the company, which is always linked to the owner, and how, because your business is an extension of yourself. So I'm going to look at this, and whatever the owner is feeling at certain point of his time, of course you can have a structure in place, of course you can have a team, of course, blah, blah, blah. But don't you know that management is always at the core of what the atmosphere in a company feels like? You know, if a management has a certain values, even though they put the nice words on the wall, but if they are I feel like saying, like, stuck up, or if they are not really truthful, and there is a sense of backstabbing and, you know, all of this yucky stuff that many people feel affected by in big corporations, then they it's going to spill over, and everybody is going to feel unsafe. So it needs to start at the core, and the core is the founder or the upper management. Right now, I'm focusing on sole owner because that's where I want to start. And you can have a big company, but you can still have, private companies, not publicly. It's not a listed company or anything. So, anyway, so let's get back. 250k total turnover. You have a team. I mean, 250k minimum turnover. You have a team. You want to thrive. You're a single owner, and I'm going to look at the core of that. So I did put an announcement a few weeks ago for business people who were interested. I had people reaching out, so that's good. But anyway, every Tuesday I'm going to do that for a company, whether it's something that I pick from the newspaper or someone that approaches me that is happy for me to, dissect the soul of the institution in front of an audience. Or not, you can consult me privately, and that's fine. But it's going to be fun. So business spiritual quotient, so I'm going to look at the energy. I'm going to look at what's happening with the connection with the stakeholders and what needs to happen for this to be upgraded. Whether it's, it starts with energy first for all, and then it goes into the tangible. Can be a cash flow issue. Like I was reading something, I think it was the Ritz in the FT again, and I saw there were some cash flow issues, and I saw something about the new manager being despised by the team members. So it's really, really cool stuff. Merging this is going to be awesome, amazing, and most importantly for you, if you have a business and you want to thrive, you're going to be... it's going to be cool. Well, obviously, it goes without saying that you have had exposure with, or even if you haven't, you have interest, otherwise you won't be watching me right now, to spiritual work. That means energy work, meditation. You don't freak out if I mention the word energy or meditation. But if you do freak out, I would encourage you to go and research it for yourself. And if you don't, and you get it because you're quite advanced in your personal growth, yeah, it was kind of mean what I just said, right? I mean, if you're quite open to this and you've done the work and you get it, it's not like I'm speaking a foreign language to you, then we're going to do great things together. And not only it's going to improve your business life, but also your home life, because all of this, as you know by now, is connected. Okay, so that was my announcement. BSQ Tuesday. If you want to be featured, you contact me, and it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. And you know what? This is what feels good about being you. You can be... I was thinking about that earlier. You can be an ex-banker with a witchy essence, or to you, with the tendency to do some belly dancing and occasionally pole dancing and talk about a hedge fund through your intuition. Okay, see, if I confuse you by now, I'm sorry, but that's who I am. So yes, so that's the beauty of being who you are, because then you attract people who just are in love with your energy. So, and that applies to you too. Don't be afraid to be who you are, to do what you want, to speak, your own truth. I know that word sounds a little... Speaking your truth, what does it mean really? In simple words, it means just say how you feel about life, how about yourself, how about others. Do what you want to do for real. Don't hold back. Don't feel, oh my gosh, what are they going to say? How am I going to look like? What if I fail? Who cares? What matters is you do what feels good to you. So actually, that was a question that came to my meditation this morning. And, you know, we all expect things to be super complicated when we want big things, but actually the truth is it's very simple. And the only question that my guides gave me was, what feels good to you right now? What feels good to you right now? And from that point, I started to list things that felt good to me, that I am already living. And I thought, wow, I'm already living the life that I want. And now the rest is fun, because it's about joy, the energy of joy that then builds builds the path for you to move forward where you want to be. Okay, so that was a lot today in this live. Key takeaways for you, if I summarize it all: if you have a business, 250k turnover minimum, employees, you want to grow, and you're not afraid of me, I mean, you're not afraid of spirituality and energy work, then come over. I'm going to rock your world. Another point is, ask yourself what feels good to you right now. And from that moment, thrive more and more and more, and just be you. Took me quite a while to get to that level of being able to do this. So I'm glad that I can share that with you. Okay. So on that note, I'm going to wish you a beautiful rest of the day. I did my announcement for Tuesday, and I know we are Friday, but it is for Tuesday. So BSQ Tuesday, and I will see you on the business page of Broomstick Capital. By the way, I also have a private group, Spiritual Impact Investment Group. I also have an Instagram, which I need to reactivate. And it's all exciting. Okay, so lots of love to you, and happy manifesting.